Okay? Good morning again, church. Wayne Simonton here. We're studying through the book of Malachi. Today we're in chapter 2. Chapter 2, I broke it down into two sections. The first section, God continues his rebuke against the priests. That's verses 1 through 9. The second section, verses 10 through 17, God focuses more on the family and some of the sins he's seeing in the family. And basically, he addresses fathers and brothers and husbands. And so we're going to look at that for a minute or so. But back to the priests. God is disciplining the priests. Still, he continues that. And listen to some of the things he says about the priests. He says, curse on you. Curse your blessings. I've heard of cursing curses, but I don't know about cursing blessings. Rebuke. And in one place he says, put refuse in your face, meaning vomit. And that the priests have turned aside. They have caused many to stumble. And they show partiality in relationship to God's law. And so God is really putting the finger and the spot on his priests that are not going according to the Mosaic law. They're not listening. They're not taking things to heart. They're not honoring God. But in contrast to that, let me read a couple verses that are just very, very appropriate for us as a New Testament church, for us that are now called the Priesthood of Believers. Starting in verse 5, at the very end, he says, he revered me, meaning Levi, and stood in awe of my name. Verse 6, true instruction was in his mouth, and unrighteousness was not found on his lips. He walked with me in peace and uprightness, and he turned many back from iniquity. For the lips of a priest should preserve knowledge, and men should seek instruction from his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. So this is the praise that God is giving to Levi and how Levi conducted himself as the first priest of a whole line of priests. But if you can look back to Luke 1, chapter 16, in reference to John the Baptist, in verse 6 here it says, Levi turned many back from iniquity. John the Baptist in Luke 1:16 says that John the Baptist turned many of the sons of Israel back to God. Very, very same words. Amazing. This is our model as priesthoods for the New Testament church. Now, continuing on in the second section where we talk about the sins of the family, this is the second occurrence in verse 16 where God says, I hate something. And he says, I hate divorce. Now, there are a lot of references here to the wife of your youth and to the wife of that by covenant. So I do believe it is talking about divorce in a human sense. But because of all the other things that have had that God has said in this context, I also believe that he is talking about divorce from the God of heaven. And so he hates that divorce also. And at the very end, the last verse in chapter 2, the last sentence says, where is the God of justice? God is saying, you ask, where is the God of justice? Well, we're going to find out tomorrow in chapter 3. Have a good day, and be sure and read the whole thing of chapter 2. It is really good. Goodbye.